Triumph Street Triple 660's best motorcycle review. It's got the least power and lowest spec, but the S version of Triumph's Evergreen Street Triple lineup could just be the pick of the bunch for most of us. The Triumph Street Triple S isn't the poshest bike Hinckley builds. Most folk love a splash of bling, and so it's easy to understand why buyers, and shallow journalists, get in a froth over the range-topping Street Triple RS. Color dash, umpteen level electronics, Öhlins this, Brembo that, adjustable the other. Thing is, for most of us, the S model is probably better. On typical poorly maintained British roads, the ride of the Street Triple S is more comfortable and less jittery than its overly firm stablemate. Its simplistic chassis recaptures some of the fun and not taking it too seriously air of the original Street Triple from 2007. So does the engine. From 2020, the S model has a 660 cubic centimeters inline 3, as opposed to the 765 cubic centimeters unit found in the R and RS versions, and it serves up lashings of accessible, usable thrust with an edgy, compelling soundtrack. And at 8,100 pounds on the road, the S is also 2,400 pounds cheaper than its headline-grabbing sibling. Ride quality and brakes. Separate high and low-speed damping adjustment? Ha! The S has the sort of spec that it's easy to lazily describe as budget. The forks are unadjustable, the front brakes use two-pot sliding calipers, and the rear shock only has provision for tweaking the preload. And that's all fine. Sure, the Nissan brakes don't have the initial bite of posh radials, and it'd be stretching things to describe the damping action of the suspension as luxurious. Engine. Triumph inflated the Street Triple's engine from 675 to 765 cubic centimeters in 2017. Based on a board-and-stroke Daytona motor, they cooked up 3 different flavors to suit a trio of models: a track-ready RS, 121 brake horsepower and 57 pound-ft, Sporty R, 116 brake horsepower, 57 pound-ft, and Everyday S, 111 brake horsepower, 54 pound-ft. Smashing. Or almost smashing. As a likely first Triumph, they wanted a 47 brake horsepower A2 legal version of the revamped model, but A2 bikes can't be based on machines making more than 94 brake horsepower. So they used a 660 cubic centimeters engine, previously developed to suit Australian license rules, specifically for an A2 Street Triple S. Having a unique motor for a handful of learner sales was clearly a lot of faff though, so for 2020's model refresh, all versions of the S are now 660 cubic centimeters. Reliability and build quality. Triumph's build quality and level of finish is much better than it was 15 years ago. There are no longer ugly hex head bolts attaching parts to the frame, inconsistent fastener sizes, or scrappy bits of plastic. Early 765 cubic centimeters Street Triples were recalled for incorrectly sealed switchgear that let water in and caused issues. However, it will have been sorted by now and shouldn't affect the S. There have also been a few 765s with slight oil leaks, but the 660 motor is less stressed and should be utterly dependable. Value versus rivals. The Street Triple S is Group 13 insurance. This is the same as the sportier R model, but 2 groups lower than the RS. For comparison, a Yamaha MT-07, 6,697 pounds, and Kawasaki Z900, 8,899 pounds, are both only Group 11. Typical average economy is 45 miles per gallon. With the 17.4-liter tank, that's over 170 miles of range. At 8,100 pounds, the Street Triple S is reasonably priced. It's not got as much tech, power, handling, or speed as the similarly priced KTM 790 Duke, 8,499 pounds. However, the Triumph is less likely to have reliability niggles and will have stronger residual value. Equipment. This isn't the bike for tech nerds. The S retains the previous generation display, no TFT or color here, has simple rider aids and basic switchgear. As with the chassis, none of this really matters. Though the switch cubes don't have Triumph's now trademark joystick and don't glow in the dark, the layout is easy to use. And the switches control a dash that's thankfully free of the befuddling display options and hard-to-read numbers that blight the R and RS versions.